From the IPCC report published in August 2021, the number of extremely hot days is increasing in almost every economy in APEC. The frequency of the so-called climate disasters, such as heavy rains and droughts, are increasing as well. In the Asia-Pacific region, it is said that the rate of strong tropical cyclones that have occurred in the last 40 years is increasing. There are many large CO2 emitting economies in the APEC region that are particularly responsible, and 9 of the top 20 countries with the highest CO2 emissions in the world are APEC member economies. The sum of these 9 countries is about 60% of the world total, which is more than the sum of all the remaining countries, and it really has a great impact on climate change. It also means that their responsibility is heavy. The impact of the emissions on particularly vulnerable areas is also significant. There are many small island nations in the Asia-Pacific region. Although it may not be an APEC member economy, I think they are the countries easily affected by rising sea levels. The data shows that the speed of sea level rise is getting faster. Comparing the period from the 1900s to the beginning of 2000, it is said that the sea level is rising at about 3 times faster than previous years. From the perspective of climate justice, I think it is necessary for member economies with higher CO2 emissions and more economic development to support other developing economies. その問題は気候変動だけじゃなくていろんな問題がつながり合っているっていうことが問題で The problem is not only climate change, but the fact that various problems are intricately connected. In particular, people living in poverty at the vulnerable, low-lying areas can be affected more. For example, people in poverty in low-income countries often earn income by picking up and recycling garbage. However, there are problems behind, such as child labor. The issue is also connected to garbage from developed countries being accepted and collected in dumps in low-income countries. And because the waste management system is not sufficient, it flows out into the sea and leads to another problem of marine pollution. It is not about solving one out of various intricate problems. Rather, it is about how to minimize the global supply chain and localize the economy that has grown all over the world through international cooperative frameworks. At the same time, there is also a way of thinking, so-called Great Reset, that pursues happiness, humanity, and health. I think it is also important for each person to realize such a viewpoint in addition to the economic perspectives, and to make such choices in daily life. It is difficult how we should act, but at least we could start from having a proper dialogue between the nations and individuals by overcoming one's status and positions and cooperate so that each other's needs can be fulfilled. We should find a way of how we can all be happy. This is the philosophy of the SDGs itself, and it is important for everyone to think towards such a future. Lastly, a message to youth. I want you to think and practice for yourselves to create truly fine and new systems without relying too much on the educational, social, and economic system that previous generations have created so far. If the number of such young people increases, I would love to support them. Enjoy APEC Voices of the Future 2021. Kia ora!